Hey guys, so today we're gonna talk about building a PC for a viewer. And today we're gonna build a PC for IbraBot FN. And he said, I'm thinking about building my dream PC after saving money for it. I'm thinking of RTX 5070, Ryzen 7 7800X3D, MSI B650M, 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM, 2x16, Kingston RAM non-RGB, 850 watts PSU from Thermalite. I'm thinking Thermalite or Thermotech. I think that's what he meant. CPU cooler is 360 millimeters from MSI. I'm thinking AIO. 520 gigs M.2 SSD from Kingston. PC case is from Lee. Tell me please if there's any bottleneck, and the price of a whole PC is 1800 USD with all tax, 200 USD. So this is night for Fortnite at 1080p low setting. I need a very high FPS. I'm from Lebanon. I don't have the money for it yet, but I'm having 200 USD right now. Alright, so thanks for writing this, my friend. And based on what you wrote me, it might be true, it might be not, but I'm gonna assume that you're building this build that you're asking is gonna be a budget build and aiming for gaming at 1080p. So I'm gonna help you build this PC, and I'm gonna try to help you maximize your build and get as much FPS per dollar as much as I can. So let's get into it. All right, so first, this is a very solid build that you're listing out. RTX 5070 and paired with Ryzen 7 7800X3D. To me, this looked little to no bottleneck. And Ryzen 7 7800X3D is actually one of the best CPU right now. And it has 3D V-Cache, so it benefits gaming a lot. You said you built this for Fortnite and Valorant at 1080p. Now, when you said your dream PC, there are a few things that we need to point out about your build. 520 gigs SSD. So games nowadays are very heavy and you're gonna run out very quick if you install your game onto that SSD. But there is another way around it. So you can have your Windows and your games in the same drive, but I think you can only store 1 or 2 games in that drive. If you want to play other games in that NVMe SSD drive, then I think you need to uninstall the game before installing your new games into that drive. Next is 360 millimeters AIO. From MSI actually made a few good AIO. There's no problem with abusing an AIO. Next, the motherboard. You said that you want to pick a motherboard from MSI. There are many variants of motherboard from MSI. I don't know that which one do you choose, so I assume that you already picked one yourself. MSI board are solid. They do a pretty good job on board and chip support, but if I were you, I would have gone with Gigabyte or Asus, but we can talk about that later. And 32 gigs of DDR5, that's perfect for RAM capacity. That's going to last you a long time. You said non-RGB and 32 gigs of RAM, but you didn't specify which variant of Kingston. I'm assuming that this is going to be your RAM of choice. Due to Rampacalypse, the price of RAM is a little bit steep at the moment. For PSU, you picked 850 watts. That's a good choice. A lot of headroom for future upgrade. Overall, that's a very solid build. Now, let's go through the PC component that I chose for you. For CPU, I picked the 7800X3D. Just as you. But for motherboard, I picked the Gigabyte B550M Aorus Elite AX Micro ATX. The reason why I picked this board is that this board is very cost effective. They have most of the feature that the Micro ATX board needs, and it has a BIOS flashback, so you can actually update your BIOS without having a CPU. As for AIO, because the 7800X3D is a very efficient CPU, I think that 360 millimeters AIOs is a little bit excessive to me, so I think that not really necessary to go that far to cool the CPU. So I picked the Lee GA2 Lite Pro Performance 240 millimeters AIO. If you care about real performance per dollar and cost effective, then the Lee 240 millimeters AIO actually makes sense in this situation. It runs quieter. It has 3800 RPM pump. So in this situation, cooling the CPU is much more efficient and without overkill. Meanwhile, a 360mm AIO from MSI sounds really good on paper, but it's bigger and more expensive. It is not cost effective for cooling a CPU like the 7800X3D. For DDR5 RAM, I went with Crucial Pro 32 gigs. With this RAM, it has 6000 megatransfer per second, and this kit it has very tight cache latency. And by the time of writing, this kit is actually cheaper than the Kingston kit. Next is a power supply. Now, I always tell people on my stream and on my short videos is that don't cheap out on your power supply because it pumps life to your PC. If you cheap out on your power supply, you might actually kill your build. It is the most important component of your PC build, so do not cheap out on it. So instead of the Thermalright, I went with Seasonic Focus GX 850 watts Platinum fully modular power supply. Why did I pick this? Well, Seasonic has a very good reputation of customer support and quality capacitor. Thermaltake does a very good job as well, but I picked this purely through experience. I own many Seasonic power supply and none of them actually failed during the time that I was using them. As for SSD, I picked the Crucial P310 because even though it's the same as Kingston, it may be a DRAM-less SSD, but in terms of performance, such as read and write speed, I think that the Crucial P310 is actually better than the Kingston. And finally, I saved the best for last. I see that you went with NVIDIA route. You picked the 5070. That is a very good GPU. It can play 1080p, 1440p, and some titles at 4K as well. As for 1080p, I think you can crank the setting up to maximum setting and still get above 100 FPS with ease. And for 1440p, I think that you can go with high settings and still get above 60 FPS. But as for me, I did not pick the 5070. I picked the AMD RX 9070 XT. The reason why I think that the 9070 XT is actually a good choice is that it has more VRAM, 16 gigs of VRAM in a 9070 XT instead of the 12 gigs of VRAM in a 5070. It offers similar raw performance for less money, higher performance up to 20% in most titles, especially if you don't care about DLSS or NVIDIA feature like ray tracing and path tracing. And there's one more thing that I think is better to choose the RX 9070 than the 5080. To me, it's more like a peace of mind because in RX 9070 XT, you don't have to deal with the 12 volt high power fiasco nonsense. Hi guys, by the way, thank you so much for staying up until this point of the video. Please drop a like, hit the subscribe button, click the notification bell, and it takes only 10 seconds, but it's genuinely helped the channel grow and it motivates me to keep doing these kind of content like PC build, component comparison, tech topic, and of course help you guys build the PC of your dream. I hope that you guys gain a lot of information and of course have a lot of fun like I did. If you guys want to hang out with me and talk and ask me a lot of questions, please check out my stream, links in the description below, and happy gaming. So bottom line, my build is kind of similar to yours, but it's different in a lot of ways. The RAM is actually better because it has better controller and more stable than other brand when you turn on the XMP profile. And my SSD is a little bit better than yours and also it's cheaper by the time of writing. And my AIO is actually more cost effective. And lastly, the GPU is actually somewhat better. It has more VRAM, so you don't have to worry about the future titles, and it has higher performance even at 1080p and 1440p. Here's the sheet of the component I picked for you, and the price is a little bit over $1,800, but save a little bit more, you'll be able to get these components. Also, if you buy it during sales, you will actually get it cheaper. And maybe after you decided to pull the trigger to buy the PC part, let's hope that the RAM apocalypse will die down a little bit and you will get the RAM for a better price. Now pay attention to the price. I don't know where you're at. Amazon ships to your location, but the price is actually just the base price, so you can actually compare it when you either go to the retail store or you buy it online. It's up to you, but this is just a base price. So you can compare it when you buy the component. I also created the list in PC Part Picker, and I will leave it down the description below and in the comments. So when you want to save the list somewhere, well, that's it for the build. Which build you're choosing is up to you. Like, you can mix it around, you can do more research and make an educated purchase, so you don't regret when you pull the trigger of buying the component. Both builds are very solid. You can play Fortnite and Valorant at 1080p high settings with very high FPS, and also in other titles like AAA titles, you can play those games high settings with no noticeable bottleneck. Both builds are going to help you enjoy playing video games and do day-to-day tasks. And you're going to be very happy with either build. And lastly, you said that you saved $200 already. That's great. Keep it up. You'll be able to purchase the PC part and build your new PC in no time. What I can tell you is that don't rush. Just take it easy. Prices change over time, and by the time that you'll be able to pull the trigger of purchasing the build, you'll be able to maybe buy those components as cheaper price, or maybe you get a better deal than this. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know your thought, and if you have any question, comment down below and I will try my best to answer them. I'll see you guys in the next video, and as always, stay geeky, my friends. Bye.